Good evening, students in Edmund 303. It's week 2, and it's been day 1 of week 2. I guess it's actually day 6 of the course. I hope you all have had a great day. It's been another kind of rainy day, but I guess we just have to make the best of that. So, just a couple of things in this video this evening. There is a classroom discussion that's going to be happening for groups 1 through 5. That'll be on this Wednesday. And then it'll be, I think it's on the 23rd. I don't have my calendar in front of me, for groups 6 through 10, which is a good reminder, as I've said in most of my announcements, check the learning schedule every day so that nothing comes as a surprise. So, I want to talk a little bit this evening about what makes an effective classroom discussion. Well, I would say this to you. I'm going to treat the classroom discussions as if we were face-to-face. Now, you say, well, Doug, how do you do that? Yeah, I can't really do it, but I want to imagine that we would be sitting in a room having a classroom discussion. That first one on Wednesday of this week is going to be with approximately 30 students, which would be an average classroom size that all of you will have likely when you start teaching. What are some things that make up the tenets or the elements of a good classroom discussion? Well, there should be a good engaging topic. There should be a couple of thought-provoking questions. I'll give an example of that in a minute, and I'll give a non-example as well. There should be a facilitator. It doesn't always have to be the teacher, but a lot of times it will be the teacher. You need to sort of set out what the ground rules are for the discussion. Things like, okay, we're going to put up your hands so that it's not chaos for the teacher, you, the teacher, to manage. Now, in an online discussion, it's a little bit different, but I would say for purpose of this EdMin 303 course, I want individuals to participate actively in the classroom discussion. Each of you in groups 1 through 5 should have, prior to that date, this Wednesday, you will have done your work for your group project, and you will have designed 2 thought-provoking questions. Those are the questions that Coralie and I are going to post for the classroom discussion that starts on Wednesday. And again, for groups 6 through 10, in the final week, we'll post your thought-provoking questions. Those questions need to be designed in such a way that it's going to spur people on to want to do discussion. So I said I'd give you an example. Here's a poor or non-example of a very poorly designed question that will not engage classroom discussion. Something like this. Is classroom management important for a beginning teacher in a classroom? Well, A, it's a terrible question because it invites a yes or no answer, and then we're moving on to the next question. That's not discussion. B, it's kind of like it's a no-brainer. Of course it's important that classroom management is sort of looked after by a beginning teacher. So that's not a good way to design a question, and I know probably all of you know that, but just a reminder. If it's a question that's inviting a yes or a no response and nothing further, no explanation, not a good question for discussion. So here's a better discussion question on classroom management. Explain 1 or 2 strategies that a beginning teacher could use in a classroom that would not only manage the student's behavior, but would also help students to be engaged in the learning. Okay, why is that a better question? Well, it's a little bit deeper. The responder has to give a couple of strategies, and they have to actually think, okay, not only are they just good management strategies, but they might also increase engagement of the learner. So again, that's a much better designed question. Now, so first thing, design a good question for the discussion. Secondly, when you're involved in a classroom discussion, if it was face-to-face, and if I was your teacher managing it in a regular classroom with 30 people, I would sort of have a sense, okay, 1 or 2 people are kind of dominating right now. Thanks very much, Billy, but I'm going to go over to Jane here, who I haven't heard from yet in this discussion. Now, those are easier things to do in a face-to-face setting, but again, for Coralie and I, excuse me, in this online setting, we are going to be monitoring, okay, how are people responding? Are there some that aren't responding? We have a way with the Canvas platform where we can sort of nudge you if you're not that involved in a discussion. We will do that because we want you to be part of it. Last thing I'll say about effective classroom discussions, online or face-to-face. when you are responding to a thought-provoking question, it's good to get a response, and it might also be good to ask another question. So, for my example, 2 strategies that a beginning teacher could use to manage the classroom and also increase engagement of the learners. I might say, well, one strategy might be to use proximal distance in the classroom. Walk around the room a little bit. You'll get a sense of some students that aren't on task. Get a little closer to them. That might help them realize, okay, I better stop talking to my buddy. I better focus here. And then, a further question might say, okay, why is it important that a teacher monitor all throughout the classroom? Again, I'm responding to the thought-provoking question with another question. So I hope that helps. Now, 2 other things I said I would do in this video. I was going to talk about the focus and the times for our next 2 Zoom check-ins. So there is a Zoom check-in scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, July 14th. Again, I've tried to use different times because I know you all have different schedules. So I am scheduling the Zoom check-in for Tuesday, July 14th to be at noon tomorrow. The focus of that Zoom check-in will be, I think, on talking a little bit about assignment number 2. You'll see a post about that tomorrow, but it'll also be talking about some group dynamics. How are the groups working together? How can we make sure they work effectively together, etc. Okay? Then the second Zoom check-in this week is scheduled for Thursday, July 16th, and I've scheduled that one for 4 p.m. I'll have an announcement first thing in the morning with the Zoom links for both of those Zoom check-ins. And I think the focus primarily for the Thursday Zoom check-in will be really, I'm going to make groups 6 through 10, make that a mandatory Zoom check-in. If groups 1 through 5 want to just sort of check in and see how it's going, they can. But just like I did last week for groups 1 through 5, to kind of get them focused on their group projects, I want to do the same thing now on Thursday for our group 6 through 10. So I hope that helps everybody. My watch right now says that it's 7:34 p.m. It'll probably be after 8 p.m. by the time this gets uploaded to YouTube. So thank you to all of you that handed in weekly memo assignment number 1. I've got lots of them. I haven't checked, but I do hope all of you make it, get it into me no later than 8 p.m. this evening. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I've already received the group work from group number 4, so thank you. And we get group number 5's work tomorrow evening before 8 p.m. as well. So that's enough for me. I hope your Monday was a good day, and have a good evening, and we'll talk to you likely tomorrow.